Let's talk about the difference of did versus made. This is a little bit tricky in English because they often can be used one for another. For example, I did my bed this morning. You can say, I did my bed this morning. But it would be more proper to say, I made my bed this morning. But if you said you did it, we would understand. But it sounds a little better to say, I made my bed this morning. But let's look at some examples here. For example, I could say, I did the dishes, meaning I cleaned the dishes. I did the dishes. You would not say, I made the dishes. You would say, I did the dishes. I did the dishes. So, when we're talking about made versus did, made has to do with something physical that you create many times. For example, I made a cake this morning. I made a cake this morning. Okay? But I can say something like, I did my homework yesterday. I did my homework yesterday. You did a good job at not saying anything. You did a good job at not saying anything. Or you can say, you did a good job by speaking up. You did a good job by speaking up. So, did has to do with the context of doing something. Many times when you say you did something, it's not something you can necessarily physically show. For example, I did my studies this morning. Okay, I can't physically, unless I recorded it, show you when I studied, right? But I could say, I did my studies this morning. I did. Okay, you did your studies this morning. Yes, I did my studies this morning. Okay, but when we're talking about made, made has to show, usually you can show it. For example, I made my bed this morning. I made some bread. I made a cake. I made a sandwich, right? Made has to do with you making something. Did does not have to do with you creating something. For example, if I want to say, I did the laundry. I did the laundry, meaning I cleaned the laundry. I did the laundry. This would refer to doing your laundry and putting it in the washing machine. I did the laundry. I did the laundry, meaning you took time and put the laundry in here and you cleaned it, or you put the soap in and you washed it, you cleaned it. I did the laundry. You would not say, I made the laundry. You would say, I did the laundry. I did the laundry. I did water the plants. I did water the plants. This would be like if we have some plants here, like here. I did water the plants, meaning you put water in the plants. I did water the plants. Actually, let me get some water and show you what that would be. I watered the plants. I did water the plants. For example, let's get a cup and get some water. This is a cup, and with this cup, we will get some water. This is the sink. This is the faucet. I'm putting water. I have water in the cup. So now I will take the water to the plant. Okay, I'm going to show you an example right now. So here's the plant. Here's the water. Okay, so now I can say I did put water in the plant. Past tense. I did put water in the plant. Let's say I want to water this one as well. Put water, meaning to water something. You can see it here. Now I can say I did water the plants. I did water the plants. This is the word did. I did. Okay. Now, week every day. Let me give you an example. Today, and I look outside. This is outside right now. It's very pretty. Let me show you. Very, very nice. Very pretty day. I could say, today, it is very nice. Okay? So, in English, the proper way to say it is today is a well day. Today is a really well day. But nobody would really say that. You would sound a little bit funny if you were to say that. You would just say today is a nice day. Today is a good day. Today is a great day. So what the actual textbook tells you and what people actually say are not the same thing sometimes. Sometimes what the books teach you are proper, yes, but when you're speaking with people every day in your life, many of those words you're not going to use. You just don't do that. So I hope this short video was able to help you. And remember, learning a language is about being able to communicate, not necessarily being able to say everything grammatically correct. Because most speakers speak in a way that is oftentimes not correct, but we understand each other. And nobody cares that much about all the technicalities of a language. Usually the people who care this much are people who take tests. But learning how to speak English from a test and learning English in everyday life are not the same thing. So that's not to say learning the proper way to speak a language is bad. But languages change, and languages are often influenced by other languages. So the question is, well, what's the proper way? Let me give you an example. In the Spanish language, we use yo to indicate I. So if I were speaking to a Colombian and I'm going to say, I go to the beach to buy strawberries, or a Mexican, and I'd say this, I'd say, yo voy a la playa para comprar fresas. Yo voy a la playa para comprar fresas, okay? But if I was talking to someone from Argentina, I would say, yo voy a la playa para comprar frutillas. Yo voy a la playa para comprar frutillas. So which is the correct way? Well, they're both correct, but the Argentinian Spanish had been influenced by Italy or the Italians when they went there. So the question is, well, what's technically the proper way to say it? Is it yo or is it sho? American English is different than British English. I'm from California, and the way I speak is different from someone in New York. For example, I might say, where's the car? Where is the car? But a New Yorker would say, where's the car? Where's the car? They drop the R sound many times, so they'll say car. They won't say car, they'll say car. So again, this is why I say learning how to speak a language and reading it from a textbook are not the same thing. For example, I could say, hello, how are you doing? But if I'm just speaking with people in everyday slang, I could say, what up? What it do? What's good with you? How have you been? All that is improper, but that's how you would speak to the everyday person. Obviously, if I went to a job, I would not speak like that. But unless you're going to apply somewhere where you're using English in a formal position, it is good to maybe know how to speak both ways. But the purpose of this is to encourage you to keep learning, keep having fun, and just keep going for it. You don't know what you'll learn sometimes until you make mistakes, and that's a part of the journey. See you all soon.